Today is January 25th, 2021. I'm here with Michael Carroll. How are you doing today, Michael?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Doing well. We have a
Is
new
the lighting
president.
better now, by the way?
The lighting is
A little
not
bit.
that much
No.
better, but I can
Okay.
see the computer white screen.
I don't know what that means. White screen.
That means when there's white screen on a computer, it kind of can be shown on the
Oh, yes,
individual
yes, the back screen. Yeah.
back screen.
Um, anyways, backlight. There you go.
Backlight. That's it.
But yes, we have a new president. How do you feel?
It'll be interesting. Interesting 4 years.
Positive or negative or what?
I don't know. I'm just going with the flow. It seems like it was the overwhelming desire.
Yes. For
So
some people,
for some
but
people, it was pretty overwhelming. So it's a lot of change, though. Pretty different
yes.
administration. So
Yes.
that'll be in. How do people in Nebraska feel about it?
I mean, you don't have to really interact with a ton of people here. So, with COVID, I haven't really done much. So, I can't really speak to how everybody feels. But overall, Nebraska is a red state, so they voted for Trump more than they did for Biden. So I would assume they're not like the happiest. And I know people who weren't happy about it, like friends or people that I played like football with or whatever. But it is what it is. I don't think anybody can do anything about it. So except
And
for storm
no,
the Capitol.
they tried. They for sure
Yeah,
tried. Oh man,
yeah.
that's a
So
pretty crazy aspect that happened, storming the Capitol.
yeah, that was insane. Very
That's a
insane.
first in our lifetime, I think.
Yes. I don't know if it'll. Knock on wood. Hopefully, it won't ever happen again. But
Knock on wood. I know. That
yeah,
was pretty overwhelming to get in the day. Like
yeah,
not as
very.
overwhelming as when I found out or when we found out COVID was happening in
Yeah.
March
Oh, at first, were you scared at first?
of
Like, did you
COVID.
think it was? Do you think it was going to be like worse than, or like just a bad? Like, I guess nobody really knew anything about it. So, did you like have fears that it was going to be pretty bad?
I had fears, probably not as much as some other people, but I had fears for sure.
Yeah.
Did you?
I originally was pretty like scared about it. But I don't. I mean, it's not that it's good and people are still dying, but I think we're relatively we got lucky. I'll put it that way because it could have been way worse.
It could have been way worse. And, you know, it wasn't that bad. There could be a worse one in the future.
Yes,
So
that's what
the
I think. I'm more like now I'm aware of that, and that's like the scary thought.
what do you think are some social practices that aren't going to return?
I don't know. I mean, I don't. Handshakes are like one that I think will take a while to come back,
Really?
if any.
Someone shook my hand in October. I was shocked.
It's weird, right? Someone shook my hand. I don't know what it was, but it was in December, and it was just weird. I didn't really like it.
A
But like,
stranger?
um, well, it was like it wasn't a stranger. It was um, my sister's boyfriend's dad. So like not like stranger, but it was just still weird. Like, because I've gone on like apartment tours and stuff, and like you meet the leasing person, and like you normally shake hands, and like you don't shake hands. It's just kind of like a weird exchange when normally you're used to just introducing yourself that way and just like respectful thing. But I kind of defer to like a fist bump now or something like that, just to avoid having to shake hands. It's kind of weird.
Yes, it is kind of weird.
But I feel like that would be one. Um, I don't know. I feel like the days of having 100,000 people packed into a stadium like won't be something that happens for a long time
Really?
unless they're COVID tested. But I don't know. I don't foresee that happening anytime soon. But never know.
Concerts are like one of the things that I miss the most.
Yeah, and like games. I don't know. Maybe it'll just be like more outside. Um, but you're not going to be sitting right next to a person. I don't think anytime soon. Maybe I don't know. It's hard to say.
MLB games, those are outdoors, most of them.
Yeah, I mean, same with football games.
That's true.
And like a lot of people have started doing concerts at like, or big artists do concerts at like football stadiums, which are outside. So, but at the same time, like there's usually 60,000 people there, and you cut that in half. That's since you're not on top of each other. 30,000 people, I think, is realistic, but having 60,000 people into a stadium, I don't know.
Even if they're
I don't
all,
know.
yeah,
It,
it's not
yes,
gonna happen within the next like it might happen within 2 years,
maybe. I
but
don't know.
it's not close to happening right now.
No, I don't think so at all. I when I was traveling back from Florida, we were in North Carolina, and the airport there was like jam packed. It was like just very packed. It felt like normal holiday season, and that was like uncomfortable for me. Like again, I'm not like I don't think I'll die if I get COVID because I'm pretty healthy. But at the same time, I'd prefer not to get it. I want to avoid it. So it was just kind of like an uncomfortable feeling just being around a bunch of people who don't give a shit. And I was kind of one of those because I was flying as well. But it was just kind of like a weird feeling because I've flown quite a bit during all of this stuff, but the airports have always and the planes have always been pretty empty. But with the holidays, people were traveling quite a bit, and it was different because you sat next to random people again, and it was kind of like an uncomfortable thing. But yeah,
Wow, sounds like people. I mean, it's almost been a year now. It's been
I know.
over 10 months, and a
And
lot
you
of
said it was going away in April.
yeah. I said June.
Yeah,
I did say April, huh?
I think I said June.
Yes, I said mid-May. I remember that, and that
Yeah,
wasn't even
that's
close.
insane.
It's been
So,
tragic.
our tragic economically, I think, more than anything. But
Yes.
what are the new? And I saw the Newsom stuff, like the orders. What are those? Can restaurants open again? Like what all that does that entail?
I think they're back on the tier system, color tier system, which is like I don't even know where we said purple is the highest tier,
Yeah,
and that's what it's going back to. I think restaurants will be able to dine outdoors. I know people who were forced into unemployment and not receiving unemployment benefits because they've all run out. So
Jesus, it's
it's not
horrible.
it's horrible, and it's kind of self destroying. I don't know a good
Yeah,
word to use, but
yeah. Was that? I'm assuming is that just for? I know you don't probably know the answer. Is that just for California or just in the whole country?
well, actually, I saw it is just for California because at least the unemployment benefits come out of the California's, you know, as far as I know and
Yeah,
believe, California pays that bill. And I believe that there is some talk of being bailed out by the federal government. I'm not too sure,
gotcha,
but the bill is fronted by California, and I believe that they can make appeals towards the federal government for relief funding.
gotcha.
I'm not too
Yeah,
sure, but currently, I don't think that was very sustainable. And
Yeah.
I believe the governor said that the capacity of the ICUs has increased pretty dramatically in the last week. I don't know anything like the
Increased as in like the people, like the amount of that they
empty
have
beds,
currently, or oh, okay.
the amount of empty beds, the capacity, I guess, of, I don't know, one minus the capacity is getting larger.
Gotcha. Which is a good thing,
Is
correct?
a good thing.
Yeah.
And so
So,
that's the reasoning. But I mean, like you said,
yeah, but is it really politically?
who knows? It's uh it's just I hope we can get back to normal. I mean,
Yes.
I know several people who have contracted COVID and survived.
Hmm.
I don't know anyone who's contracted COVID and died. Do you?
Yes. Same. No. Um, I know like I've seen like people that I kind of like close, or I didn't, not nobody I knew closely, I'll put it that way. Like someone that maybe I work with that knew some, whatever, but like I've never personally known somebody that has, but I've known a couple people have gotten it. But I think the worst that has happened is like respiratory stuff after, um, that like I think someone got it in like October or something, or I don't know, maybe it was like September, October. They were still having issues like a couple months after. So,
Wow.
and she's 28, 29, so she's pretty like young, um, and like relatively healthy. Other than that, though, I don't really know anybody who's had any underlying issues outside of that.
Even for the flu though, like I know in college I got sick all the time.
Hmm.
There were a couple times when I would get sick and be sick for 3 or 4 months straight. Like
Really?
just like kind of have a nagging something in my
Yeah.
sinuses, always there, always some sort of respiratory issue. So there is
Just
probably
kind of lingers.
lingers and it's
Yeah.
always there. Like you're not fully down, but you're not 100%.
Yeah.
And I don't know, if I feel like that can also be the case with the flu. Like we can have pretty terrible reactions towards the flu, and it can probably do lasting damage on our respiratory
Yeah.
system.
For sure.
So can COVID.
Yeah. I agree. I It's funny because I feel like I don't know about you, but I feel like for the last couple of years, like I never ever get sick, like ever, rarely.
Knock
I
on
mean,
wood.
yeah, knock on wood. But in high school or college or whatever, I think it's goes back to like eating really well and taking care of your body, all that stuff. Like very rarely will I get sick, and if I do, I kind of kick it in like a day or two. It's like a quick thing. But I can't remember in the last, especially during COVID, I haven't gotten sick at all.
Nice.
Maybe like allergies, but that's it. And that's not really sick. But outside of that, yeah, in the last year to 2 years, I can't remember a time I've been like really, really sick.
What do you attribute that to, most probably?
Um, I don't know. I would say I'd probably say just consistency of working out and eating healthy. I mean, I enjoy food, and I'll eat a crazy meal from time to time, but overall, I think it's like consistency, and then same with like going to the gym pretty consistently. I think both of those things, and just keeping my immune system relatively healthy, especially like I take a bunch of vitamins now, all the ones that are hot vitamin, I or hot button vitamins that everybody talks about, hot topics. So like zinc and vitamin D. vitamin C. I don't know if that does anything, but maybe it's a placebo effect, but it works. I haven't
Do,
gotten sick, so
how do you take your zinc? How long have you been taking vitamins?
uh probably last at least the last 6 months, but if not more. But pretty consistently. And it's the just regular like zinc tablet. But I
Nice.
listened to that most recent podcast that talked about how you should eat, like you should have like a ionophore. Did you listen to that one?
Which
Joe
one?
Rogan one? Joe Rogan one?
With who?
Mark Gordon?
No, I haven't listened.
Oh, you should listen. It's really good, actually. I highly recommend.
What does he say?
He says you should, so zinc, all this is all what he says, so I don't know if it's true, but I'm assuming so. That zinc doesn't, you can only absorb a certain amount of zinc in your body. And like if you take a tablet of zinc, it'll only absorb a little bit. But if you take it with something called like an ionophore, which is basically something that helps activate it more and get into certain areas that maybe it can't get into otherwise, like turmeric or other like vitamins, like quercetin's one that he said, that it helps um, get into your, it helps absorb it more. So that's all I know. But
That's interesting
yeah,
to think that like you can take a vitamin and you can take a vitamin, you can take it for years and then it doesn't actually digest into your blood or body the way it
mm-hmm.
should without another vitamin.
Yeah, it's interesting. I recommend listening to it though, because there's a lot of stuff like that I kind of picked up on.
There are a lot of subtleties in health that like are tough to really bring in, like zinc for example. Like starting to supplement on zinc isn't like a go to. Like it's
Yeah,
not like eat lean protein and don't eat too much fat.
I think the other weird thing, which is kind of related to what you're saying, but not really, is I was just talking about this earlier. I feel like there is very little or too much unreliable information out there about um, health in general, and you don't really know what to trust or what is right and what's wrong. And there's also not like, I feel like there should be one source that tells you this is all the stuff that you should do, and there's no education on that. Because I was watching 1,000 Pound Sisters. Have you seen that thing, Joe, or heard of it?
No, I've never heard of it.
It's
I think I
it's a
maybe
trash
have heard
television
it.
show, but it's really interesting because they're like, one girl's 600 pounds, the other one's 400 pounds, and they're both just drinking half a pack or a pack and a half of sodas a day. They're just absurdly overweight. And I was just like, I mean, they're from Kentucky. So part of it's like just the way they grew up, and then they didn't really have a great childhood. And they just started going to food for comfort. And then they just, slowly but surely packed on the pounds. And you could tell like they want to like figure it out, but they just don't really know where to go or what to start. And it's just like, that I think is a lot of the problem. And fast food so easy and cheap, it's just so available. I feel like there's got to be a better source of data or something that people can go to who don't want to like do anything other than just work on them themselves. I don't know. It's just kind of how I feel, because I feel like that's a big problem.
That's true. I think so. I mean, it is a huge problem, and there's a lot of people putting out like nonsense.
Well, it's not even like the nonsense. It's then if someone says, you know, coconut oil is good for you, and then another person says coconut oil is bad for you, like, what do you believe? Like, how do you trust that? And how, I don't know. That's what I think is hard.
It is hard. It's really hard. And for someone who's 600 or 400 pounds, it's like really tough to even
Yeah,
start. I don't, you said though that like it would be easier to have one source. And I'm not sure because we kind of did have one source for a long time,
yeah,
the food pyramid.
yeah. And that was kind of bullshit.
It was kind of bullshit. It
Yeah,
and like now we do have people saying like one's like, oh, coconut's no good. The other one, meat, no good. The
yeah,
other one, plants, don't eat those. And then fruit, don't eat those.
yeah,
Grains, bad. One's like carbs are evil. The other one says fats are evil.
yeah.
Almost no one says protein is evil. They'll usually say
Yes,
meat is evil, but like I think
that's.
everyone can agree protein is good.
I feel like they say meat is evil because of the vegetarian stuff, though, right?
The
But is it? Yeah,
the
exactly.
ethics and
Yes.
environmentalism. I'm reading a book right now called Sacred Cow by
Mm,
Diana Rogers, and she puts out an argument to say that eating meat, like especially you bought butcher box, didn't you?
hmm.
And she makes the argument that eating pasture raised meat is like an ethical and possibly less harmful way of eating than any other way of eating that you can sustain.
Hmm.
And she says that, environment she makes an argument environmentally, nutritionally. I don't think many people, I mean, I know there's a demonization of saturated fat, but like still, it's hard for me to believe that beef is very unhealthy if you keep
Yeah,
your caloric load in general pretty steady.
I think everybody talks about red meat though as like being bad or too much red meat being bad. I think that's the part of it, but again, who knows if that's? I don't know.
It might be true.
Yeah,
It might not be true.
exactly.
And I mean, like you and I feel like we've both tested out some things. And
Hmm.
like I still enjoy eating not great food
Of course,
every once in a while, but like I'm far from where I was in high school,
for sure.
eating a lot of fast food, unregulated, and it's taken years to get here for
Yeah,
me. So for someone who's like hundreds of pounds, it's
yeah.
like
You
it's
have
gonna.
to I think you have to learn and educate yourself on it though,
Yes.
and like you said, test out different things and try different, uh, diets or try different, fads or whatever. And I think the other thing that was helpful for me, and I know you do this too, is like MyFitnessPal, because you just understand what you're putting in your body.
Yes.
You can look at all the stuff in there and you're like, oh shit, like I thought this was healthy, but there's so much shit in here that I probably shouldn't be eating, or vice versa. Like like before I really knew what macros were or whatever, you just look at it and you see fat. It's like, oh, it's not probably not good. But there's frick, I can't remember the name of the bar. Oh, Layer bars. Have you heard of Layer bars? Yeah.
Yes.
Um, they have like 10 or some have like 13 grams of fat in it, but it's all just nuts and like healthy stuff. So it's like just thinking of different ways of like that, and then also knowing like if I think the biggest thing for me is like I know how much like my limit is per day just based on like how I measure it or how I've measured in the past. So I can kind of eyeball things and just I probably shouldn't eat that, or if I'm on the road or I'm like traveling or something, I kind of like have an idea as to okay how much this is. I'm just more aware of what I'm putting in my body, which I think is a big thing. And again, like you said, I'll absolutely enjoy a fat cheeseburger every once in a while, but you know, making sure I'm going right back to it afterwards, I think is the most important thing.
It is the most important thing, and it's very tough because
Yes.
I mean, for someone who previously was an unregulated eater, like you eat one cheeseburger and then you're like, I'm
Yeah.
done. It's like the last 3 months of discipline are out the window,
Hmm.
and then you gorge, or it's maybe
Yes.
someone.
You feel like yeah, you feel like everything you did was like a waste. So then you're like, oh well, I already ate this, so I might as well keep going. And I think that's what I previously had done. Like, because I wasn't fat by any means, but I was 25 pounds heavier, and I think I would like look at the scale and then I would eat like something and I'd be like, oh well, it's the weekend and I ate pretty healthy all week. But all that stuff just adds on and then it just like you just stay here and you gain weight or whatever. Whereas now I look at it more like, okay, if I ate a cheeseburger, if I had a bad weekend, it's fine as long as I get right back to it on Monday and you just go right back to working out and being consistent again, and all that stuff will just fall off because it's just a lot of it's water weight if you go back to being consistent. But I think also, and I think this is, you could probably speak to this too, but I feel like food is addictive in that if it's, cheeseburgers that you're putting in your body, you're going to want to crave cheeseburgers and all that salt and all that shit. But if it's healthy food, you're going to crave that too. Cause it's just like, I don't know. I feel like it's addictive either way. That's just kind of how I feel. And that's how I notice myself when I'm like eating, if I eat something bad, I'm like, okay, now I want a pizza. And I'm like, okay, no, I got to go right back because then it just retrains your brain. That's kind of how I feel.
I feel like that too. It's with if I'm in a period of like non-discipline, then like I'll see something, chocolate, a piece of like cheese,
Mm-hmm.
sweets, anything. And it's not necessarily that I'll eat it, but I'll eat it and then I'll eat a lot of it, which is
Mm-hmm.
really the big issue. It's like you can have a little bit and it's probably not going to be a big deal, but keep it to a little bit, and yeah, don't gorge.
I think, yeah, that gorging and eating until you're like full is like, that's what
Tough.
I don't ever really do that a ton anymore. Like I eat and I'm like, that was fucking good, but I wish I could have a little bit more, but I'm good. I probably shouldn't have any more because then I'm gonna be full and then I'm gonna feel bloated, and that feeling is just, it's the worst. Um, I went to a steakhouse on Friday, and I eat pretty healthy, and it was still a healthy meal. Like it was steak and potatoes um, and asparagus. It was like a really healthy meal, but it was like a 22-ounce porterhouse. So it was a big ass piece of meat. That shit, right when I left, my stomach just started like, it felt like a knot in my stomach. And I don't know if it was all the red meat I ate or whatever, but it's just like I had been eating so well, and then it just throws your body off because you're not used to like putting. I had calamari too, so maybe that was part of it. But whatever it was, my stomach was just in a knot, and it was interesting.
That is interesting. And for me too, I feel like if I eat an excessive amount of meat in one sitting, I get bloated.
Yes, for sure.
I love it.
Yeah,
As 22-ounce porterhouse sounds really good. Like,
it was delicious.
an
But
18-ounce ribeye sounds really good.
Dude, my stomach was just, it was dead. I
Did
could
you
not.
fall asleep after that? Or
No, I was good. After that, I had to sit on the toilet for probably about 25 minutes, but
wow.
outside of that, I was fine. But yeah, it was just a knot in my stomach. Like it just hurt so bad. It was weird. Um, but yeah,
Wow. Well, what yeah. That's interesting.
yeah.
It's like,
I don't know if it was something else I ate. I don't know. I mean, but it was a lot of meat, and I didn't eat the whole thing, but I ate a good chunk of it. And I'm assuming it's just I'm not used to putting that much red meat into my body at once, and it was just like a lot to consume.
yes. Did you eat anything before in the day?
Yeah, I ate some regular just breakfast, lunch, and stuff, but nothing, nothing abnormal from like what I normally eat.
Got it. Do you do you fast ever or do you ever eat less? Well, cuz you said that you walk away from food now and you to not get bloated.
Hmm.
I have a tough time doing that.
Yeah.
So I restrict my eating window in order to compensate for that
Hmm.
lack of ability in walking away.
I don't really know. I will eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I don't ever really fast. I on the weekends, because I don't have to like get up and like work and do stuff, I'll like fast until like 12 or 1 o'clock. Um, Depends on the day. Um, but yeah, probably Saturday and Sunday are the only days that I do that, but for no reason other than just I don't feel like.
Laziness, like not wanting
Yeah,
to make a meal.
yeah, I'll wake up and then I'll lay and chill around for a little bit until like 9:30, and then 10 I'll go work out, and then that'll be like 2 hours. So I'll get back by 12, take a shower, and then I'm right by the time I'm ready to like cook, it's like 1 o'clock. So it just kind of the day just gets away from me, but it's not like I don't need I like to eat or work out on a fasted or do fasted workouts. So because of that, I don't like eat in the morning. So I don't want to eat before I work out in the weekend. So that's the only reason though. But on weekdays, I do not. I've thought about it, but I find myself, um, especially because I work out in the morning. So I find out, especially if I'm work out and then I wait until 12 or even longer to eat, I'll get so tired and just drained because I burned 1,000 calories close to already. So for me, I have to eat like a big breakfast because it kind of like replenishes me and gives me energy for the day. So I like to eat big breakfasts, and then the rest I'll just kind of coast throughout the day.
Really? So breakfast
Yeah,
is your main meal?
for sure. I eat probably 1,000 calories for breakfast,
Wow. And what about the
but
other
all
two?
good, good stuff. Dinner, it really depends on the day, but like, yeah, it depends on if she's with me, because she'll plan out my whole meal because I'm lazy and I'll just cook potatoes and steak and whatever. But on a normal day, so I'll just kind of lay out my breakfast. Usually is like uh oatmeal, turkey bacon. I'll do egg whites and then fruit. That's kind of like my breakfast, and it all like because I have protein scoops on it too. It'll probably end up
Protein
being close.
scoops?
So I put a scoop of protein in my oatmeal and mix it around with almond milk and make it
Wow.
like a protein oatmeal thing. It's actually really good. I highly recommend it. Go ahead.
There's this person on Twitter. His name is Ted Naiman, and he coined this term, the PE diet.
Hmm.
And the whole idea of the diet is like you have to take in a certain amount of protein and you have to limit the amount of calories you eat.
Hmm.
And that's it.
Yeah, I feel
And
like that's
see,
pretty
and
standard.
he posted a picture today or yesterday of it is standard, but it's not like it's standard and it's communicated, but like sometimes it's very difficult to digest
Yes, for sure.
because you just are like, I no, I don't want I don't want to just
Yeah,
eat protein.
yeah,
But going back, because you said you ate turkey bacon, like he showed, I think it was yesterday, like the macronutrient difference between turkey sausage and pork sausage. It's like 28 grams of fat to 9 grams of protein in the pork to like
yes,
8 grams of fat and 13 grams of protein in the turkey.
yes. Night and day.
Your breakfast sounds loaded with protein.
Yes,
How
for
many
sure.
grams of protein are in your breakfast? Do you know on a
Um, Probably like if well macro wise, close to 100. Because
Wow,
I'm doing 2 scoops of protein, which is uh, probably like I don't know. Let me
35?
look at it. Yeah, about if not more. Well, no, it's like 48. It's 48 for that, and
Wow.
then turkey bacon's like 15 for like 3 pieces, and then
Egg
all the other
whites.
stuff. Yeah, egg whites exactly, which is I usually do like 40 grams of that. Um, so yeah, it's close to 100 almost every morning.
Damn. And that's it.
Yeah, but I get full, but then I'm like that's like my big meal, and then I'll like portion control usually like the rest of so like kind of smaller containers rest of the meals or not as big of dinners. Um, like dinner I'll have like depends on the day. Like tonight's dinner it's like uh just salmon, broccoli, and then like probably a little bit of potatoes or rice, but not like a ton. So like I'm going to be eating a lot of food. And I ate like lunch today, which wasn't a lot. Had some grapes for snack, but like I don't eat like a ton.
No. And so
Yeah.
you're limiting your portion though in the evening.
Yes,
All right.
exactly.
That's not
Because
easy
if
to
I
do.
ate every meal like
Breakfast.
breakfast, I'd be fat for sure.
Got it.
Which I could easily, but I don't like to.
Because you'd be fat.
Yeah, exactly.
So what how
What do you are you still doing your keto stuff or like what are you? Because I know you did that for a long time.
um I don't really go. I've had a lot of different my relationship with the word keto has evolved over the last couple of
Yes,
years.
I feel like we've kind of like you've showed me your different stages. I feel like, but I'm interested to hear more in depth.
So I remember like 2 years, 3 years ago in 2017, I was first heard keto, and I just automatically assumed it meant eat more fat, which I think a lot of people take that for. It's like just eat more fat and you'll lose weight. All right. So I did that and I gained weight and
Well, like
was
what fats were you eating? Any fat?
dairy fat mostly like cheese and butter.
I remember you just eat sticks of butter.
Yeah, I mean, you're not the only person. You're not the only person who's seen that or commented on it either. And it's
uh,
delicious still. It's still
no.
I don't do it. It is I don't do that anymore. It was a very misguided way of thinking
Hmm.
about the diet. And then I started Tim Ferriss's slow carb diet, which was like I might have lost more weight on that diet than I have at any other point in my life.
Really?
it was just solid because again, he just says eat meat, lean protein, lentils, and greens. So it's like you're going to take in a low amount of calories and a high amount of protein through that.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and he also restricts eating within the last 4 hours. So it's like he says
Within the last 4 hours
of your
of
day.
bet. Okay.
So
Yeah.
you can eat within the first 12 hours and then the last 4 hours you fast. Or like it's not really a fast, it's just you don't eat.
Yeah.
And that was like my first introduction to not eating at night or not
Hmm.
eating, restricting yourself from eating. Cause like when I was first starting ketogenic, I remember this one time, like I ate something at like midnight and then this was abroad too. So I was in a hotel. So I ate something at like midnight and then like was on a ketogenic quote diet, quote unquote. And then like at breakfast, I just went downstairs and had a huge continental breakfast because, free and
Yeah.
whatever. Probably loaded up on butter too because it was fat. And
Hmm.
so then it just kind of evolved and eventually I tried different things. And now it's just like my relationship with the word keto is a lot different. Now it's like
Yeah.
I see it more as a all right, maybe I should eat less and then start burning body fat instead of eating more fat. And there was actually someone at my work who last year, 2019, so I'd suffered this kind of misguided way of thinking in like 2017. And then last
Hmm.
year, he was doing it too, where he was just like loading up on like fatty foods and like not taking a break with his eating. And it's like, if you're going to do it, like, I think you've never really been fat or overweight, so you've never really needed to lose weight,
Yeah.
and so the restricted feeding isn't as necessary for you
Yeah.
as it is for people who've been overweight, who in general, like, they probably are overweight because they overconsume single
Yeah.
meals, like they're not portion controlling very well. Whereas if you've never been overweight, you've probably been able to control your portions.
For sure.
So it's like that was my
It's a
relationship.
different relationship. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And then like for example on Friday or Thursday, I think I limited my calories to 500 in the day. And in 2019 I probably got like 25 of those days where I like ate a maximum of 500 calories.
Hmm.
And those days are, I mean, if you want to be like on a ketogenic diet, are absolutely necessary
Yeah.
because it's like
You have to restrict yourself
you have to
a little
restrict
bit. Yeah.
yourself and get into that fat burning process where it's just like you're not running on anything besides the fat on your body,
For sure.
which
I think that's what I feel like, and that's what annoys me about the whole diet, because I think your way of thinking about it, like, that makes a lot more sense than just eating cheese. Because I see people just, oh yeah, I'm fat, and I'm gonna eat, but I can eat this queso, because I'm on keto. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Yes, it might help you for a little bit, but like ultimately, it's probably not the best for you. So I think that makes a lot more sense of the way you're approaching it. Are you still doing the whole lentils and all that stuff too?
no, I should get
No.
back on that, but
Yeah.
no, I'm doing mostly like a paleo style diet. I gave up coffee last
Really?
week. I haven't drinking coffee in a week now.
Have you had headaches?
No, I've been drinking black tea.
Okay. Give you caffeine.
What?
To give you caffeine.
To give me caffeine.
Yeah.
But I feel like sometimes, like the first couple of mornings when I woke up, like it was just like a struggle. Like I was like
You're
having
dragging.
dragon and having like an internal war of like, should I go to Ralph's and buy a bag of coffee? Should I not
Yeah.
go to Ralph's and not do that? And it was just like, do I do this or not? And now it's like, all right, I don't need coffee. But the biggest thing is like throughout the day, I just feel one, more hydrated, and two, less strung out.
Hmm.
I, I would have 3 cups of coffee in the day.
Oh, really?
Yes. How many cups
I'll have one in the morning. That's it.
do you have a Keurig?
Yeah, it's
Got
right
it.
there.
I see it. I looked and I
Yeah.
saw it.
Yeah. I only have I really don't have it every day. I try to because I need it sometimes, but yeah, I try to have like one a day. I don't ever make multiple or else I'll get, like you said, strung out. But what was your reasoning as to like why you went off of it or
Tom
decided to
Brady.
steer away from it?
Tom Brady doesn't
Tom
drink
Brady.
coffee.
It's a good reason.
he I I have his book, what my friend Devin,
TB12 method.
the TB12 method, he gave it to me. And after these recent couple of weeks of his dominance, 43 years old, still, taking teams to
Incredible.
Super Bowl, it's like, wow.
She's gonna hate you because she's a Packer fan, but
Packers, yeah, that was pretty terrible. That
yeah,
game kind of looked, I'm not going to say anything, but a couple of those calls were pretty questionable.
yes, very much so.
That non-call PI at the end of the
With the
first
pick,
half, and then
the
that,
pick.
like, yes, the pick,
Hmm.
and then the flag that came in like 5 seconds late.
Super late. Yeah,
Oh my
that was
god.
a PI though, but it
That
just
was a
came so late.
PI. Yes, it's just
Yeah,
sad that the PI in the second half against Tom Brady
yeah,
was called really late, and the PI against Aaron Rodgers was not called.
yeah,
It's just like, all right, well, and they
yeah.
scored a touchdown on that, and then won by 6 points or 5 points.
Hmm.
So Tom Brady's in the Super Bowl, but either way, he's definitely looks very solid for
Yes.
him. And Paul Saladino don't drink coffee either. The carnivore diet,
Interesting.
man. So I was like, all right. And, like if you drink 1 cup of coffee a day and can exclude it from your diet completely on days without issue, then there's no reason to give it up. But for me, I was having
I
3 cups a day. And it's just like, ooh.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I will say there's been days, and I don't know if it's related to this, so I could just be making it up or whatever, but I haven't had coffee and I've like had headaches or like it feels like withdrawals. I don't know if it's like my mind telling me that or just coincidental. But
On
I
the
do feel
days you
days.
don't have coffee?
Yes, but
Wow.
again, I don't drink it. Like if I have one, it's 1 cup. Um, but I also, to your point, like the whole dehydrated thing too. Like I'll try to drink. I have this gallon jug. I try to
Nice.
drink one of these a day.
That's
Um,
huge.
just try to stay hydrated, so I don't ever feel it. But right after I drink it, I definitely feel dehydrated. But after I kind of replenish because I have to drink that or else I'll feel like shit.
Nice. That's a good size one.
I do you drink a lot of water?
Yes.
This is like a so it has times
Oh,
throughout the
wow.
day. So it like makes you remember to drink water or else I'll forget. And it kind of just like, hey, it's 5 o'clock. You should probably drink some water. Like it just kind of helps you hold yourself accountable. I love it.
That's awesome because one of the big issues I have sometimes is like some days I'll have, hundreds of ounces of water. Another day it's like 3 p.m. and I've had less than 40 ounces of water.
Exactly. And you're like, oh shit. And you just kind of realize, yeah.
Yes. One of the big reasons for that is that I pour water out of my refrigerator tap, and I should really
Mhm.
stop doing that because it's just like so slow that even the idea of like pouring my water bottle filled with water is daunting because I don't want to stand there and wait for it to fill. I should get like a filter and just,
Yeah, get like a Brita or something.
yeah, a Brita.
Yeah.
Do you use a Brita?
No, I just use sink water. I probably should
Sink
get a
water?
Brita, but yeah, water here is fine though.
Water here is probably fine too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I'll
probably
be able
should
to do
get a
that.
filter, but whatever.
Whatever.
I haven't died yet, so I'm good.
No, that's one thing Tom Brady says too. To go back to him, he all about electrolytes. Do you take zinc though? That's a pretty
Hmm.
big electrolyte. But he does that and the resistance bands. Do you
Resistance bands, yes.
have you've been doing resistance bands, haven't you?
I have. Oh, I was for a while, but then my gym opened up in like August, so I just started doing like weights again. Um,
You've been going to the
but
gym?
yeah, well, like my apartment gym.
Oh,
So I just yeah, I have like weights that go up to like 50. So there's never anybody in there, so it's not like a big deal. But I haven't gone to the gym yet. I don't feel comfortable going to the gym, and I don't feel like I need to go to the gym anymore because I can do everything at home now.
with your
Like I
bands
realize I
or
can
with
do
your
shit. Yeah. Well, with bands, but then also my apartment gym, I have all the shit I need.
and do people go in there ever?
Yeah, there's people in there. Like there's people in there this morning. But I don't ever feel unsafe. Like it's pretty far enough distance
Relaxed?
away for people. Yeah, exactly. And it's not big. Like it's not like a big place. There's just it's an apartment size gym. Like you probably know what it looks like. Looks like a hotel gym
Yes.
almost.
Yes, I know. I can think. The
Yeah,
gym I had in college was like in an apartment complex and it had weights
yeah,
going up to 50.
yeah. Exactly like that.
How has your so for everyone who doesn't know at home, you played college football.
Yes.
How has your weight training evolved through playing football and since now that you're in real life, no longer playing sport
Um, I don't lift heavy ever,
ever.
ever. Like the highest I'll ever go it depends on the actual lift, but like I won't go over 50 for dumbbells, and that's not just because my apartment gym. Like I never would do that ever, anyways. And then like bench press, which I don't have a bench press at my gym currently, but when I was going, I wouldn't ever go over like 185, if that ever. Rarely would I go up to that point. I just do a lot more reps and a lot more sets, but I do not do a lot of weight. College was all just lift as heavy as you can, do 3 sets of 5 reps or 5 sets of 5 reps, and just do as much weight as you can do in those reps. So that's been the biggest change for me is just low weight, low reps or high reps. And I feel like that's helped me a ton. But I know my dad does his own thing, but he does heavy weight. Like he does heavier weights than me. Um, could I still do it? Probably, but I don't feel a need to, and I just feel like my body hurts when I do a lot of weight, and I don't really like that feeling.
Yes, I understand that.
Yeah.
How actually, so I was doing a lot of weightlifting. Actually, last year, 2019, I don't think I did any actually for like probably 9 months. I didn't do any heavy lifting. Longer than that, dude. Because I this start for like 2.5 years, I didn't do any heavy lifting. Like it was all yoga, and I did some like body weight calisthenics and like low level weightlifting, like
Hmm.
20-pound bells. And then over the last year, I started doing heavy weightlifting and I got a lot stronger, but
Mm,
also by the end, like something is really nice about moving your body a lot, like high reps, high sets, and not being too sore at the end of
yeah,
it. Because like with these like heavy bells, by the end of that, it's like you can only do some like
yeah,
elongating stretching. You can't really
for
do
sure.
anything else like mobility type of like yoga or even low weight lifts.
Yes, for sure. I agree. Like it's nice to lift heavy every once in a while. I'll do like depends on the day, but some days I'll kind of challenge myself. But overall, I don't feel like there's a full need to. And yeah, you feel like more, um, as Tom Brady would put it, pliable, or you feel
Pliable.
more. Yeah, yeah,
That's
you feel like
exactly
you
what he
can
would
move
put it
more.
as.
I know. I that's his like favorite word is pliability or pliable or whatever.
Pliability. That is his
Yeah,
favorite word.
yeah.
I
I
read
watched his documentary
he has a
on Facebook.
documentary.
It's on Facebook. It's like Tom versus Time, like 2 years ago. If you haven't watched it, I recommend it.
I should watch it.
It's pretty 30-minute episodes, like six of them.
Do you have any sports documentaries that you like in particular besides The Last Dance?
Um, I mean, there's a lot of 30 for 30s that are phenomenal. I can't think of any off the top of my head. I feel like I watched one recently. There's one on Dennis Rodman that was actually really, really, really good.
Really? And 30 for
Yes.
30?
Hmm.
I'd like to see that.
That was good. I don't know. There's a couple. I'll have to look at them and shoot they your way because there's a lot that were really good. But the Dennis Rodman one was awesome. I highly recommend it.
That one.
But
Wow. I saw the
not any recently.
the
How about
Rick
you?
Ricky Williams one was pretty
Hmm.
interesting hearing
Yes,
about
that one was good.
his life and coming in and out of the NFL and his Heisman story.
That was the one on 30 for 30, right?
That
Or
was a
30 for
30
30
for
one. Yeah.
30.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was also a very good one. I feel like things would be different now because, like, oh, I don't know, they're still punishing people for that, but just he was so looked at negatively because he smoked weed, and now it's not as, you know, vilified as it was then. So it'd be interesting if he was like playing now because he was such
Yes.
an advocate for it,
He
big
was
time.
a huge advocate for it. Like
Yeah,
he wasn't just a player who smoked. He was kind of like an
yeah,
advocate of marijuana.
for sure.
And yeah. But yeah. Tom Brady gonna go to the Super Bowl in 2 weeks. That's gonna be a great Super Bowl.
Yeah, that'll be great. I just can't believe I saw. Did you send me the stat? 18% of Super Bowls. No, it
He's
wasn't
in
you.
18%.
He's been in 18% of all Super Bowls.
That's terrible.
That's nuts.
That is so nuts.
That is absolutely incredible. That one person's been to 10 Super Bowls, and there's only been 55 now.
It's incredible that that was last year. People didn't know. Was it Belichick or was it Brady? Now it's not even a
Oh yeah,
question. It's it's like
yeah.
wow.
I mean, I'll give Belichick another year to prove himself, um, because their cap situation sucked, and I think I'll give him one more year. He didn't really. Cam sucked. Um, but yeah, I was very impressed with that. I mean, Brady did have a lot of weapons, but they almost had all those weapons last year, and they were 7-9. So I mean, he definitely makes all the world's difference. But yeah, I think that debate is definitely more interesting now for sure because Tom made it to Super Bowl's first year. Especially if he wins too, that'll be crazy. But I think it's going to be a great game.
I think so too. I'm very excited to watch that game, watch a Super Bowl after a year of COVID, fanless football games.
There's been a lot more at the playoffs. They've had a lot more fans there, but
Yes.
not normal, obviously. Uh, but yeah, it'll be nice to. I can't believe it happened either, and there wasn't any big mishaps or anything crazy other than a couple of weird weeks. Um,
You mean the
so
whole season?
yeah,
Can't believe it happened too. Like a couple
yeah,
times, like games were moved back a couple days, but like
yeah,
at no point, I don't know if I expected this, but like at no point did a team have like their game completely canceled.
yeah,
The Browns seemed like they were close to like having a COVID situation in the playoffs, which
yeah.
would have been
That have
interesting.
sucked.
That
Yeah,
would have sucked.
yeah. The NBA is having issues though now. Have you seen all those things?
No, what's going on in the NBA?
They've canceled like I think it was the Wizards. I think they've canceled like 6 or 8 of their last 8 games because they haven't been able to field a whole team. And the issue with basketball is like because there's only 15 people that play, you can like if one person gets it, more than likely they've been in contact with the other people, so they have to have at least 8 people or 7 people I think to play a game, and a lot of their team has like been in close contact, so they have to quarantine, and so there's been like a handful of games that have been postponed already,
Just for the
for a
Wizards?
couple of teams. Well,
Oh,
Wizards have had 8, but there's been other games that have been postponed because of close contact or whatever, or somebody had COVID, whatever. So it'll be interesting to see how they go about everything.
it's a lot tougher in some senses too for the NBA because there's a lot more games.
Yeah,
Like in NFL, it's like you have one game a week and another game next week, and that's it. Where it's like the NBA, you could be traveling and playing in like 4 different cities in a single week.
yes, yes,
So it's like that's a lot tougher of a situation.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, they don't have a week to figure things out. They have to like play 2 days later or whatever. And yeah, they're traveling, and that's why the bubble idea was so cool, but it's not sustainable long term.
No, not for the
I think
players.
I was gonna say playoffs though. I think they'll probably go back to it. I would assume.
You think so?
Yeah, that's kind of what the MLB did for baseball too. Like they let let everybody play, and then they went to just Texas to play their games for the playoffs. I
Actually, I
believe.
think the Yankees played in San Diego. The Yankees and
Well,
the
yeah, I think the uh, AL was in like San Diego or something, and then the NL was in whatever somewhere else, and then the World Series in Texas, I believe. I could be wrong though, but anyways, yeah, they had some form of bubble like that, similar.
I was actually watching the AL game in a bar down the street from the game.
Were you?
Yeah, and it was just completely empty. I mean, you could see the stadium lights
Yeah,
were on, but
so weird.
it's so weird. I mean, hopefully like the MLB season can be better this year and
Yeah,
more people.
like now that people have had like a season under their belt now, it's probably easier to like get through, and like they know how to do things and they know what to avoid. Um, but I mean, I would assume they're probably gonna have to run that way the next couple of years at least,
So
if not
crazy.
beyond. I don't know. It'd be weird.
What do you expect to not be back this year? And this doesn't have anything to do with sports or, this is just the general, like you are moving into Chicago. in 3 months. What do you expect to be open in the big cities in April, and what do you think will still be closed?
I think restaurants will be back. I think I hope. I don't think any like concerts or games indoors will come back for a while. Um, yeah, I think it's just any indoor like arena is just going to be unrealistic for a long time.
What about bars
I
and clubs?
bars I think will be somewhat. I don't think they'll operate the same way. Same with clubs. They'll be there, but not like when I was in Chicago before they shut down everything again. Like the bars are open, but you couldn't like stand. Like it wasn't like standing room only type of thing like normal bars are. It was like they had tables and you had to sit at that table and that's like your table. You can't like walk around like it's your table, you know. So that's obviously different and I think that'll be that way for a while. Um but yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
It's very weird. And hopefully, I don't know, dude. Hopefully, vaccines can get rolled out and people can feel comfortable.
How do you feel about it?
How do I feel about what?
Vaccine?
I'll take it if the overwhelming amount. I mean, I don't know anything about it. I can't. I, I am completely vaccinated too because I've traveled abroad so much that like
Mm-hmm.
I have all the vaccines, like
Yeah.
all, yellow fever, I've taken pills for malaria, both has forms of hepatitis, um, all my regular ones. So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you
You're
feel
not
about
a
it?
I'm I'm not opposed to it. I know one of my close friends, he's taken it. My mom's taken it because she's in hospitals. Uh, my mom didn't have any. They're both going to do their second one this week, and I know the second one is where you have more symptoms. The first one though, so just based on what I've heard and read, seems like the older people don't have issues as much because their immune systems aren't as good, whereas the younger people have issues because their immune systems are already fighting stuff off better. So, like my friend who's 28, he had his first one and he had like chills and fever and all this stuff.
Wow,
My mom didn't have anything though. So, it's like, it's interesting that that kind of works out that way.
that is interesting.
So, I don't know. I don't really know how to feel about it because, like, I feel like I've been in a couple of instances where like I've been in a wedding, a couple of weddings, and I've been around people. I would assume I've at one point come in contact with somebody that's had it. Just being in crowds, going on planes, and I feel like I'm okay. So I don't know if I need to get it, but that's just kind of my like feeling. I don't get the flu shot every year at all. So like I don't know. I don't feel like there's a need for me to get it. I'd rather it go to people who need it, like older people. I feel like I don't know. That's kind of my general feeling about it.
My mom got it and she got an allergic reaction to it.
Really?
Yes. It wasn't too bad, but it was like a very interesting, like, nice.
Yeah, yeah,
So, I mean,
it's
I think I'm on your boat too, where it's like I'm not going to be the first person in line, and
yeah.
until someone tells me I have to take this vaccine to get into a place that I want to be in, I don't think
Which that's going to be a weird, dicey subject because that'll happen eventually.
it will
Just a
happen.
matter, yeah. It's just a matter of like what's more important. That's where it'll be. Yeah, because it's gonna happen and it's gonna cause outrage for a lot of people.
It is going to cause outrage. Michael,
Yeah,
before that outrage comes about and before we end this episode, is there anything you'd like to tell everybody?
I don't know, man. I don't have
Eat
anything on
healthy,
top of my mind. Eat healthy. I think that's a good one. Eat healthy, take your vitamins,
high
work
protein.
out, just move your body. To your point earlier, move your body.
Move your body. Yes.
Yes.
All
Although
right.
I can't really move my body much today because there's 1 foot of snow outside that just
Really?
came out today. Yeah, just today got hit like crazy, but
It wasn't snowing before?
no.
Damn. It snowed. It
Yeah,
actually, no, it didn't snow. It rained here today. But
yeah, it snowed quite a bit today, but I mean it snowed, but it hasn't snowed like this in a long time. So
really, in like
yeah,
years? Like when was the last
uh,
time it snowed like that?
at least a year. So I've been here for almost 2, so it hasn't snowed like this since I've been here for sure.
But you,
Maybe once, but
what about your college days?
college, yes, it snowed like this a couple times.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, stay safe in the snow.
You too, man. Stay safe. Stay safe. Stay safe. That's hard to say. Why is that hard to
Yeah, it
say?
is. Yeah, I know. It was for me
Um,
too.
but yeah, stay safe in California, and I hope you can go enjoy outdoor dining soon.
I I hope so too. I hope so too.
All right,
But
man.
later. Talk
Later.
soon.
Yes, talk soon.